Bootcamp is about to begin. Rise up, it's time to log in. LP Army will teach you the way to be LP warrior starting this day. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul and now we sing our song. We live for the fees we make. Soon it is profits that you will take. The LP Army marches strong. The best in soul and now we sing our song. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Their own bow we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Spot could be asked, use them all. Winning's the task, we heed the call. Bootcamp, join our ranks so tight. Listen to the Goose Gang and gain your might. We will print and we will earn. Once you gain as tokens burn. Join the ranks of the brave and bold. Story of the LP Army told. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Their own bow we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Post your wins with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic fees, our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Their own bow we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the run and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Oh.
GMet, welcome everybody to the first boot camp in English for 2026. This is boot camp number 22. So excited to get into this today. We're gonna go ahead and get started on this. So here's the alpha. Today we are going to cover the basics, and tomorrow, the next lesson, we'll cover more advanced topics. This course is for educational purposes only. Completing this course will not grant you any airdrops. meta allocations or NFTs or anything like that. Some prerequisites for this: you need a Solana compatible wallet funded with some SOL. We recommend that you have about one SOL to get started, but you can start with less if you need to. You need to have a basic understanding of how to buy and sell tokens on Jupiter and a high level understanding of what cryptocurrency is. And just a little disclaimer here, this course is for informational purposes only. The people here, the instructors, we are not financial professionals, and any investments or positions you open, you do so at your own risk. So you shouldn't risk any money that you are not willing or able to lose. So as usual, just kind of NFA, do your own research, that kind of thing. Okay, so introduction. I am Heavy Metal Cook. I am the Bootcamp moderator. I've been doing this for a couple years now. Mined on ETH, LP'd on Ethereum and all of that before coming over here to Solana. And I fell in love with Meteora. This is where we are. And also joining me today is Photon. Photon, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Good to see you here. Hope you learned something.
Yeah, Photon has been helping me out for quite a while with this. He's been a great instructor, and he's also one of our coaches. Also joining me today is one of my newest instructors. I don't have a slide for him yet. Hashirama. Hash, you want to say hello?
Hey, how's it going, guys? New instructor here, but long time LPer. I've been pretty involved in EVM chains previously, and then once I found good feed tech, I've been addicted and here ever since.
Indeed. Welcome, very brother. Okay, so to get the most out of this course, please use the chat functions. It's for you, and we want to answer all of your questions during the session. Let's keep them concise and to the point. And these guys, Photon, Hash, they're here to answer those. And if there's anything that we need to answer live, we'll do that. Try and complete the exercises. Try and follow along. You don't have to do exactly what I do, but learning by doing is very useful. You must complete both days of this course in order to graduate. And of course, we love feedback. If you have suggestions on how this course can improve, please share it with us in the Discords. A lot of the changes that I make to this course are based off of your feedback and your questions. Okay, so here are some bootcamp resources. This is additional reading, extra links that you can use. Scan this QR code if you're on a PC and using Google Chrome. You can use Google Lens to scan it, or you can use your phone. We will show this again later, but it's just extra reading for you to look at on your own time. We'll give you guys just a second here. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna keep going. And a little bit of clarity on this course in order to complete it and the roles that you earn. So if you complete the test at the end of day one, you will get the bootcamp trainee in the Meteor Discord. If you pass day one and day two, you'll be granted the LP Army private role in addition to the bootcamp trainee role. That is in the Meteor Discord, and we will copy that role over to the LP Army Discord. But if you do not pass day one, it doesn't matter if you pass day two, you got to start over. And we always have LP Academy available. It's basically the same course. It's always available on lparmy.com. So if you don't make it this time, there's always another boot camp. There's always LP Academy out there for you. So moving on, we're going to talk about a little bit of DeFi terms that are important to know. Some key DeFi terms that you really need to understand. You'll hear people say contract address, or CA. It's that unique identifier for every token out there. Swaps is another way of saying trading. Slippage, this is something very important that you need to understand, as well as TVL. Volume is king. The amount of trading over a given period of time. Very important term to know, as well as volatility. There is a difference between volume and volatility. That volatility is a measure of how much that token moves up and down over a given amount of time. If you want a more in-depth explanation and understanding of all these terms, I recommend that you take my LP Basics course on lparmy.com/academy. Go take that. I give a great breakdown in detail of everything that you need to know to get started on this. So we're going to move on and going to get a little bit more into the definition of an AMM and LPing. So an AMM, automated market maker, that is how market making happens on the blockchain itself. It's different than a centralized exchange such as Coinbase or one of those. It's automated, obviously, but that's what handles the trading for you out there. And it's the core of liquidity providing. And that can mean many different things. LP itself, depending on context. I'm not going to read the slide for you guys, but that's the information there. So what's a CLMM? That stands for a concentrated liquidity market maker. Because your traditional AMM is not capital efficient. And I'm going to show you why and how that in a moment. But a CLMM is way more capital efficient. It helps you to earn more fees and offset losses and so on. It does have its downsides, and we're going to explain all of that as well. And so here we go right here. A standard AMM versus a CLMM. On the left here, this, I'll zoom in here. We'll see here on a standard AMM, your liquidity is spread out amongst the entire price range, that from 0 to essentially infinity. But let's say all the price action here in this example you can see is between $30 and $35. So this is the only liquidity that's being used. The liquidity out here on the edges is not being used. So it just kind of thins out your ability to earn fees on this. The upside to this is that you're always within range. So no matter which way the price goes, you're continuing to earn fees no matter what. On a concentrated liquidity market maker, you can see here that you can focus that liquidity with where the price action is happening. You can put a little bit on the outsides in case the price swings, but it's not covering the entire infinite range. So this allows you to focus more of your liquidity there and earn more fees. The downside, of course, is that if the price moves beyond where your liquidity is, you start discovering something that we call, well, it's more severe impermanent loss. And we'll talk about that more, but you stop earning fees, and that's the main part of that. Okay, so some things that I want you to remember when you are being a liquidity provider. You are not staking tokens. You're providing money for other people to trade with. You're not exactly trading. While one token will be swapped for another during the process, you're not exactly doing a trading in a strictest sense. When you LP, all of your assets can be swapped into another according to that price action. So don't think that just because I only put in SOL that I'm automatically, when I withdraw, I'm only going to get SOL back. Things can change. Expect memes to go to zero. Have that expectation going in. Don't stay too long. These are risky. More established long-term tokens can be safer, but it's a lower rate of return. So there's pros and cons again here, and we'll demonstrate that more during this course. So we're going to go straight into showing you some of the basic things, such as our vaults and dynamic pools. So we're going to change screens here. Okay. So starting out with the dynamic vaults, I'm at app.meteora.ag. I come up here to more and I go to vaults. And at the moment, this page is not fully loading, and I'm not 100% sure why. And the vaults is not something that you would really want to deposit money into. But you'll see here, there's only a few coins here that have they're even in here at all. And I'm just going to go into the SOL vault just for this example. And what the vaults are used for is money deposited here is used amongst a few different lending protocols, such as Camino and some others. Basically, you deposit money here, and that is earning you a return based off of lending. Now, it may not have the highest APY. You might find something better out here. And I don't actually recommend that you make a deposit directly into these vaults, because your money could be used better somewhere else. I'm showing this to you because it's relevant here to something else in just a moment. But if you wanted to use it, it's a fairly safe investment. You just deposit however much it is that you want to put in there, and withdraw is the same. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, and the reason why I'm going to show it to you, is it relates to the DAM V1, or Dynamic Automated Market Maker version 1. And here on the DAM V1, you'll see all different kinds of pools. If you see any pool that has the little Meteora logo on it, that pool was created by the Meteora team itself. These pools are permissionless. Anyone can create a pool if they wish. So you do need to do your research on anything before you enter. You will see here various information about the types. Actually zoom in on that, change your screen here. You'll see various types here: mean pool, volatile, dynamic. You may see stables, or LST, that stands for liquid staking token. And of course, you can search by a name or a contract address. If you have that, you can have it suggest things based off of tokens that you actually hold in your wallet itself. You can ask it to show you verified tokens only, and that means verified on Jupiter. Meteora does not verify tokens. It just pulls that information directly from Jupiter itself. So let me go in here, and you can see that it sorts by TVL, or total value locked. You can sort by the 24-hour volume or the yield. I'm going to go into this liquid staking token pool. Sol, we'll see the total value locked here at the top. That's how much liquidity is in this pool total. So everybody who's in this pool is combined here. We have our two tokens, Sol and Sol, and you will see the amounts of each of these. You'll notice it's not 50-50. There's a ratio here, and this is important. We see our current pool price and the virtual price. The virtual price is a complicated topic to explain. There's information in the Meteora documentation that goes into it. What you need to remember here is that if it's above 1, that's good. If it's below 1, it's not good. 24-hour volume. This is how much volume or swaps, value of the swaps that has come through through this pool in the last 24 hours. We also see the 24-hour fee. This is how much in fees have been generated from this pool in the last 24 hours. We also see the 24-hour yield. What's the difference? The DAM V1, if any of the tokens in this pool are also found in the vaults, which I just showed you, those tokens are also used in the lending, and so you're earning lending yield in addition to any fees that you earn. This is unique to the DAM V1. So it's kind of like getting money from two sides on this. We have the liquidity provider fee. This is how much you are earning per trade that hits your liquidity in this pool. Protocol fee. In a Meteora created pool, the protocol fee is 0. In others, it's 20%. We also have something here called the AMP or AMP. It's also an extremely complicated thing to explain. If you want to understand more about it, you can read it in the Meteora documentation. All of these, we have pool charts. So if you want to look at the specific chart for this pool, just click on that and it'll take you directly to that token pair. So now we want to learn how to make a deposit. Because the DAM V1 requires both tokens to be deposited here, you need to have both tokens. And that's with the balance deposit. If you turn off balance deposit, and it'll give you a warning telling you we don't recommend that you do that. But if you do that, and let's just say I'm going to put in 0.2 SOL in here just for demonstration purposes. And I'll show you what's going to happen. I'm going to make that deposit. I approve that in my wallet. Okay, so we've made a deposit and we can see the amount right here. I'm going to go to the withdraw button and click on my balance, and we will see how much I will withdraw here. And so what it did was it automatically swapped some of my SOL into the Judo SOL to match the ratio that you have here. So 37% SOL and 62% Judo SOL, and that's represented right here. So if I withdraw, that's how much I get. The DAM V1, the fees and yield are automatically compounded back into the pool itself. You can't claim them separately. It's automatically dropped in there. So if you want to know how much you've earned in the DAM V1, you need to make a note somewhere of how much you've deposited and then compare that to how much you can withdraw. Okay. So let's see here. There is a swap function. You can swap directly in the pool itself. That will swap in this pool. Generally, it's recommended that you use Jupiter to swap to make sure that you're getting the very best price out there. And Meteora has added a very handy integrated Jupiter swap function right here in the bottom left-hand corner for every pool. So you can use that. That is kind of the recommended thing. I'm actually going to withdraw here, and I want to do a balance withdrawal because I want to take all of it out. You can choose to do a smaller amount if you wish. You can even click here and enter a specific number. Let's say I wanted to only pull out 90%. You can change that, click it, and it'll automatically change that to pull out that amount. I want to withdraw all of it. So I'm going to hit max and click withdraw. Something else that's important to note when you deposit into the DAM V1, what it will do is generate an LP token. You will see this in your wallet. It's an actual token and it's your receipt of your deposit. You don't want to burn this token. If you do, you will forever lose access to your money in that pool. So don't do that. anyway, let's go back and explore some different pools here. I'm going to go into this MAGA USDC pool to see what's going on with it. Okay. So we can see here that this one actually has a dynamic fee. Not all damn V1s have a dynamic fee. We will talk more about dynamic fees later, but it's basically any volatility on these token pair can increase the dynamic fee, which is more money for you. And then here we see the protocol fee. This is important to know because it's different for other products. The protocol fee, and that's how much Meteora is taking, is 20% of that dynamic fee. And I'll explain it to you if you've got a little hover here that it'll tell you what those things are. Now you'll notice here that we see an extra button. It's called burn. This is not something that I would recommend that you actually use. It's meant for token teams. So if you were a token creator and you wanted to permanently lock your liquidity into the pool, you can do that. Now, when you do that, you will be able to claim any fees off of that forever, but your initial deposit, you will never be able to withdraw it. So don't use this unless you're an actual token creator and you're trying to do something there. Let's see if there's any other differences that we can see here. Let's look at this one. No, it's basically the same. We can see there's not any action happening on this one, but it's still earning lending yield. It's got a protocol fee. There's no dynamic fee on this one. So not all damn V1s have a dynamic fee, just some of them. Okay. So that's enough about the damn V1. Let's see, I don't see any questions, so that's done. Now we're going to get into the damn V2. So the damn V2 is the next iteration of the dynamic automated market maker. Your liquidity is still spread out amongst the entire price range. But there's a lot of differences in this. And you'll notice here with the damn V1, for every token pair, there's only one pool. Only one pool can exist for any specific token pair. However, for the damn V2, because there are so many different configurations that can happen, you can have multiple pools for the same token pair. Let's go into here, the Sol USDC. For example, I expand this and we'll see it puts the recommended pools here on the top. And I'm first going to go into this one right here with the base fee of 0.25%. We can see how much is locked in there. The token ratios, which is very close to 50-50 in this pool. Now, something that you'll notice here is there is no yield listed. The DAM V2 does not use the lending vault. So you're only earning money off of the fees. There is no virtual price or AMM in the DAM V2. We see a base fee. This pool has a dynamic fee. Currently, because Sol USDC is not volatile, it's at 0%. So that's the total trading fee and the protocol fee, which is 20% of that total trading fee. One thing that's different about the DAM V2 is it's possible for a pool to have the fee collection token in only the quote token. So in this specific one, all fees will be in USDC. You will not receive any fees in Sol. This is especially great if you're in a pool that contains a meme coin. And, you know, there's a lot of meme coins. You're not really wanting to keep the meme coin. You only care about the Sol or USDC. So this is giving you fees only in that. Now, it's not automatically swapping those fees. What it's doing is actually extremely technical. And I had one of the Meteora engineers, he tried to explain it to me. and I couldn't understand it, but I just assure you that that's the way that works. So what I'm going to do here now is go and make a deposit. One of the differences between the DAM V1 and DAM V2 is you must make your own balance deposit. You must own both tokens. It will not automatically swap them for you. So let's say that I want to put in $10 of USDC. It will automatically calculate how much SOL that needs to go in there. And so we can see all this. We're just going to go ahead and make a deposit. Like so. And there we go. We have a deposit. Our position is valued at $20. Now, here's another difference between the DAM V1 and the DAM V2 is the DAM V2, the fees are not automatically compounded back into the pool. You can claim them separately, and you can claim them at any time. Now, let me also, another difference with the DAM V2 is that it generates, instead of an LP token, it generates an NFT. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, that is what that NFT looks like. So don't burn that from your wallet or you will lose your money. So don't do that or you'll have a bad day. Okay. So now moving on, we can see down here, they've integrated a new price chart directly into the DAM V2s. This is a great thing, and you can change the different types of candles. You can select whatever you would like, whatever your preferences are there. You have various charting tools, and we are going to cover charting tools tomorrow. You can favorite them. This is off of TradingView. So you've got all kinds of cool tools that you can use here if you want to use the chart directly in the pool itself. We can change the time frame. All these things right here in that. We'll see the current market cap, how much volume is happening, the current price, and you can let's see. You can have it change the price from price to market cap, USDC to SOL, and so on and so forth. So you've got all those things that are going on. This thing is not earning any fees. I'm going to go ahead and withdraw from this because I want to show you guys some more examples. Give me all my money back, please. We're waiting for this to load. I'm going to check, see if there's any questions. What is the effect of the base fee on a volatile token? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, the base fee is the base fee for the pool, which it never changes. You cannot change the base fee. So whenever someone trades, whenever they make that trade, you are collecting that much percentage off of the trade. And of course, that's amongst all liquidity providers. Whatever part of your liquidity gets used, you will get that much percentage in fees. I don't know if I answered your question or not. Let's see, refresh the page, see if we can get withdraw to work. Withdraw. Give me all my money. I'm just going to change RPCs to see if that helps. It doesn't seem to be. So we're going to move on and show you guys something else instead. Let me go into the SOL USDC again. Now we can see here that there is something, you'll see price range. the DMV2, it is possible to have pools that are concentrated. Let's go into this top one here that covers the price range of $70 to $440. Super optimistic. Let's hope for that. We could see the current price. So you actually are focusing your liquidity here based on all of these things. This one, there is no dynamic fee on this particular pool. We're getting both tokens whenever we collect fees. And there is the protocol fee. You can see because there's no dynamic fee, it's 20% of the total trading fee. All of that works the exact same way. Everything else. Let's show you guys some more differences here. Let's go into one of these pools here. Let's go into this one. Okay. So again, here we get it only quote token. There is a dynamic fee. It does have that protocol fee. That's the total trading fee that we're getting off of that. Nobody has any money in that one. Let's find a different one that shows you something even cooler. Let's see here. Let's sort by 24-hour volume. Okay. So let's just pick the top pool here for fun. Okay. Maybe my internet's having issues here. Hope not. Let's go with this one here, Ralph. Okay, no differences there. Let's find a different one. Okay, so here we go. Here's another feature of the DMV2. There is things called the time scheduler. So what happens is when this pool is created, it can be configured to have a different fee, and this is on a linear scale. So this actually started out, the fees for this actually started out at 50%. And the idea here is that you're capturing that sniper volumes. Snipers are going to snipe. This helps protect, and you earn more fees off of those initial spikes that they're getting. You are making mad money off of those if you can get in at the right time. Over time, that decreases so that it's more attractive to the regular retail users, the regular people who are swapping and not sniping. This one, the time's already passed. It's already come down all the way down to normal. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find a different one that maybe was a little different. Not on that one. Oh, I just did that one. No difference on that one. Let's see if this shows. Okay, another linear. Quote token only, dynamic fee. So I could keep digging, but basically there's another type, and it's called help me out here, Photon. I forgot the word. Exponential. So what that happens is this curve is actually on a curve, so that it's an exponential drop in that in the fee rate there. So different types to do different things here. That's the DMV2 in a nutshell. So I'm going to change gears again, and we're going to talk more about how to find good opportunities for the DMV2. Okay, so here's some helpful tools for the DMV2. Again, when you're doing memes, the name of the game is be fast finding that. There's some tools out here that will help you find those very quickly. For example, rocketscan.fun and dammit.pro. And we'll actually demonstrate that here. I think. Let me just switch over to that. Get it pulled up. Okay, so here we go. Here's rocketscan.fun. So this here, you can view current Meteora pools that are already out there. It will do the DMV2 as well as the DLMM. I'm just going to select DMV2 for the moment, but you can see a lot of information here on this page. You can see how many holders, the market cap, and all of these things. And if you want to go, if you find something that says, oh, hey, this one looks good, I'll just click right on it. This is actually giving me some things saying this thing looks sketchy, so maybe I don't want to do that one. Let's see. This one, it didn't warn me about that, so that's cool. Connect my wallet. So it took me straight into this thing that I can deposit here if I want. But that's a cool function. But let's talk about how to find them. New things. So here's new tokens. And this thing is auto refreshing every 5 seconds. If you hover over a specific pool, it will pause that so that you can read it, because there's times whenever this changes very quickly. You can copy the contract address, see the market cap, how much liquidity, the number of, how much buys and sells, like the net. So it's buys and sells, subtract, you get the net. You can click to see if there's any DMV2 pools already created for a pair. And you can, if there is one, you can also click to choose a chart. They've got some great filters here that, let's say that you wanted to only look at things coming out of pump.fun. So you can filter by that if that's what you'd like. Lots of different filters. I'm not going to go through everything here, but you can see what's going on. Maybe you just want to see whatever's pumping right now. And you can see these are the ones who are pumping. So that is rocketscan.fun in a nutshell. It's not all that hard to understand. You just kind of play with this for a bit. It's a very useful tool, and it's fast. It's finding that stuff out there very quickly. So let's go to the next one that I was talking about, and that was Dammit Pro. Okay. So this one here, we can do a lot of different things with it, but we're going to go to the Discover. And you do need to select a wallet, connect your wallet to it, because it can actually interact for you. You can enter a contract address. I'm just going to do a search for a token. Nope, it wants that contract address. So let's grab something here. The demonstration. Yeah, it does want the CA. It helps if I get the correct one. So it's doing a search right now. Okay, so there it's found a pool. We can see how much TVL is in there and all these things. This one actually looks empty. You can actually add directly to the pool from here if you'd like. And a lot of information here, like the collection type, token, or both. All this stuff out here. You can monitor active positions that you have, or actually, yeah, other here. No, that's not active positions. Here we go. So there's a lot of stuff here that you can go and click. You see collection type both. There may be some that say quote. This is a great tool that you can use not only to find new pools or look at things. You can actually manage your stuff directly from Dammit Pro. So this is a very useful tool. Okay, we're going to move on to the next thing. I will show you guys tomorrow the built-in Meteora pool discovery for the DAM V2. But for now, I want to tell you guys about other ways to find out more, maybe things to LP or just how to use the DAM V2. If you go to the LP Army Discord, there is the DGen DAM chat. You can learn a lot in there. If you go to lparmy.com/strategies, you can learn more about the DAM V2. There's a lot of guys that have made a lot of posts on X and what have you. And we even have an advanced boot camp out here on lparmy.com/academy. Advanced boot camp number 4 covers the DAM V2. So there's that. So just here's some of the differences between DAM V1, DAM V2. I believe I covered all of this. Here's one thing that is different. We are in season 2 of Met Points currently. So for every $1 in fees you collect, you're earning Met Points. The DAM V1 does not generate any Meteora points at all for season 2. The DAM V2 does. So again, this is a lot of the stuff that we already covered, just the differences between the two types of automated market makers. Okay. Now we move on to the DLMM itself, or the Dynamic Liquidity Market Maker. So this is what's allowing you to truly concentrate and shape your liquidity out there. It's got some other advantages over a traditional CLMM, such as being able to actually shape the liquidity into different styles. You can do single-sided liquidity deployment. We have dynamic fees, which we'll talk about here. The strategies are very flexible and so on. So we're going to move on here. And here's the important thing for the DLMM. It's comprised of bins. Okay. So what is a bin? In its simplest explanation is a container that holds tokens. A bin can hold one type of token, 2 tokens, or no tokens at all. We see here in these bins, only the active bin, meaning this is where the current price is, that's the only one that can have both tokens in a specific pool at any given time. When bins are created, the bins themselves don't move. They're assigned to a very specific price point. They don't ever change. They can never be destroyed. They exist forever, whether or not they have any tokens in them or not. In our example here, we can see on the top, this is your liquidity, the colored part. We see a visual representation of how much. So the teal or blue is WBTC, and the purple is CBBTC. We see we've got a little bit of this one in this bin and a lot. Now, once all of the CB BTC is traded for WBTC, the price will move to the next bin. It will not move until then. Any swaps that occur within a single bin do not suffer from any slippage. This is very cool for you, the LPer, as well as the swapper themselves. Slippage is not great when you are making a token trade. So you don't want that to happen because you may lose more than you wanted to. You may have said, I want to buy this much of it, and because of slippage, you don't get quite as much. So by there being zero slippage in these bins, it's good for them, and then it's therefore good for you because that makes your liquidity more attractive to, say, other liquidity out there on the market that may suffer from slippage. Okay. So we can see here on the top, you've got your liquidity, and then underneath in gray, you see your liquidity plus everyone else's liquidity that's deposited into the same pool. So the bins are not just yours, they're shared by everybody. Now, next thing we got to talk about here is bin step. So the bin step is, simply put, the difference in price between two consecutive bins. They're based on basis points. So this one is a one bin step pool, and that means one basis point. That's represented by 0.0001. Okay, so that's, you can see very easily the difference in price here. One bin step, that's one basis point. If you wanted to do the math, you can see it right here. We take the current price, we multiply that by 1 and the basis points, and that gives us the price of the next bin. If you want to go down, you just use division. That's it. Now there's multiple bin steps. We're going to talk about that here in a second, but this is the basics. So the bin is the container, and the bin step is basically defining how wide that bin actually is. It's the difference in price from this bin to the next bin. Here's an example of a 50 bin step. The price of SOL per IO is right here, 0.01231. And then one bin higher, it's 0.1237. So we could see there's the math. And it's not really that I expect you guys to go out there and do math. It's really kind of just so that help you understand the difference in bin steps. We can see here, this is just a listing of some of the possible bin steps. You'll see the pattern here of how this works on the basis points, what that translates into. So the higher the bin step, the greater in difference in price between those two bins. Here's another thing that's important to see here. We have a large bin step and a small bin step here, showing these bins. We're covering a price between 169 and 169.25. A large bin step pool may only need 2 bins to cover that, whereas a small bin step pool may need 8 or more to cover that same amount of price range. So, and there's pros and cons to these things, because with a large bin step, you can cover a greater price range with fewer bins. However, it takes more of a change in the price of the token in order for it to move to the next bin. So if you're going with something that's maybe not very volatile, there's not a lot of change in price very much, the price impact is small each time there's a trade, then a smaller bin step will be more helpful to you to capturing more fees, more trades. Okay. Now, there is a correlation between the bin step and the base fee. And if you remember earlier, we talked about base fee. That is the minimum amount that you are earning whenever swaps hit your liquidity. This is just a small sample of some of these. Generally speaking, the smaller the base fee, the smaller the bin steps that are allowed for it. Such as there's no such thing as a 5% base fee on a one bin step pool. There's also a very high bin step. You won't see these very low base fees. So like a 200 or 250 bin step, there's no such thing as a 0.01 base fee. This is just something to help you visualize and understand the difference and correlation between base fee and bin step. Okay, so here's another zoom out of what we're looking at, and we can see a lower bin step sometimes will generate more fees. It's not always the correct choice, but many times it can be, especially if you're going with more established tokens like Sol USDC. Each time it moves from one bin to the next, that's a fee event. You're generating more. The more it moves between bins, you're generating the dynamic fee, or the dynamic fee will go up because the token is more volatile. The higher those bin steps, the less volatility you might see. It just kind of depends on what's going on with that. Okay. Now we talk about DLMM strategies. There's three basic types of strategies, and what that means is the shape of your liquidity. The first, the classic, is spot. So this is an even distribution of your liquidity across whatever price range you've defined. We can see here this USDC Sol, it's flat, and this is just like a CLMM that doesn't have the ability to change the shape of your liquidity. Spot works in just about any situation. It's okay to use if you are unsure which strategy to use. You're usually just fine with spot. The next is curve. It's probably one of the least used out there. And we can see here, this is why. Because you're really focusing the majority of your liquidity in a very specific tight price range here. So this is very useful if you are in a pool where the price doesn't move a whole lot. USDC, USDT is a prime example of that because both tokens are worth about $1. So the price doesn't move very much from that. So a curve will focus that liquidity there and help you generate the most fees because you're putting the most of your liquidity there. You have some out here on the fringes in case that price swings, but as you move down to these smaller pieces, you're not earning as much fees because you have less liquidity there. Next, we have the bid ask, and it's like a way of dollar cost averaging or DCAing in and out of a token. We see here as the price of the token moves down, you're buying more of it at lower prices. And as it goes up, you're selling more of it at higher prices. So think of it as like trading. The name of the game is buy low, sell high. If you're buying high and selling low, you're losing. But that's the idea here. If I'm going to buy a token, I want to buy it for the lowest price possible. And if I want to sell it, I want to sell it for the highest price possible. It does have the disadvantage to whenever you're here in the valley, you're not earning as much in fees as you are out here and out here. But this is a great strategy to use for capital preservation. We'll talk about that more later in this course. Now, here's one of the other great things about the DLMM is you can stack strategies. In this example, the spot plus curve. if you recall, I talked about when the price moves out here to the fringes, you're not earning as much in fees. So one thing that you can do is you can add, say, a layer of spot, and then on top of that, add your curve. So that allows you to earn more fees whenever it's moving out here to the outsides, but you still have more of your liquidity there where you think the price action is going to happen. A spot bid ask, it's the same idea, just in the reverse. So whenever the price is sitting right here in the valley, you're still getting more fees from here, but you're still preserving more of your capital, or you're selling more of that at a higher price. We'll show you how to do this later in the course. But now we're going to talk about the goals for the DLMM, okay? There's basically two ways to achieve a profit: have a positive return from divergent loss, also known as positive divergent loss, or just achieve a positive return from fees itself. And ideally, you're getting a combination of both. So let's first, before we continue more on that, let's talk about impermanent loss, aka divergent loss. And simply put, it's whenever you deposit into a pool, whenever you have the first swap hit your liquidity, that price is going to change. So it may move to another bin. That is divergent loss because the price has diverged from its original. And this is a loss that you've incurred because of that. Now, I know that can sound very scary. This is the nature of liquidity providing. The goal is to earn enough fees to offset those losses. That's how we win. If you Google for impermanent loss or divergent loss, it's two ways of saying the same thing. You see this lovely little graph here that involves a whole lot of really fun math that I don't understand. But here's a visual here that you can see here. I was in the Sol Uranus pool. This is where I deposited. This is my entry point at this price right here. The price of Uranus went down. And so now I have a negative divergent loss from my entry point, which is that red line right there. So there I am in that. I've earned fees along the way, and hopefully they offset those losses. But here's a really cool tool that one of our LP Army members named GeekLad has created. It's called dlmmsim.xyz. That's the website. I'm going to show this to you in a moment. But it's a way to help you understand impermanent loss, what it looks like. There's no wallet connection or anything. It's totally free. And I'm going to demo that for you right now. And while I'm changing screens, Hash Photon, is there anything that we need to touch on?
Not that I can tell.
All right, cool. All right, so here we go. So here is the position simulator. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. Okay, so here's GeekLad's position thing, and what you can do here is search for a pool, and this will actually pull real Meteora data. I'm going to search for this Sol USDC pool, and now I'm going to let it use the 4-bin step. I'm going to put in an amount for Sol. We'll say 2, and let's say for USDC, let's put in 500. You can go one-sided. You can even use autofill. That will give you a nice balance there. You can define a very specific price range if you'd like. You can change it like so. And then what you do here is you've got this little slider that you can move back and forth, and this is to simulate the price action itself. So we've gone down. Here's the current price. We move down just a little bit, and we can see position value change, how much profit and loss. In this particular one, it's 0.744. So you would need to earn at least that much in fees in order to offset that loss. You can go the other way. You could say, let's simulate a massive pump here, and this is how much profit you would be in that particular thing. We hit reset, that'll take us back to that. There's a toggle here to display the actual USDC value. But this is the basic of it. It just helps you to understand how that works. You can clear that off and try any other that you'd like. Let's pull off of this token here and see if there's any DLMM pools out there. None. Let's grab this one. I think I know there's a pool for this one. There we go. Let's put in 2 Sol and 0 gas. We're going to go one-sided here. I'm going to move this over here. So we can see like what our P&L is for each as this goes down. The other thing that you can do is you can see what changing the strategy would do. So here with the bid ask one-sided, my profit and loss using bid ask is less than it is for spot. Now you would have earned more fees along the way using spot than you would have in bid ask. But what you've done here with the bid ask is you've preserved more of your capital because it's way down here. So that is even smaller. If I change it to a curve, you can see that it's even higher. This is not a move that I recommend that you do on a meme coin, is do a one-sided curve. But that is the Geek-led DLMM position simulator to help you understand what impermanent loss looks like and what you would need to do in order to earn more fees. Okay. I don't know if there's any questions on that. I will put up here. There is a QR code in the upper right-hand corner that will take you to the DLMM simulator. You can also find it under the tools section, I believe, on lparmy.com. So you can find that out there. Okay. Pop this off. All right, so the next thing that we want to talk about is a positive return from fees. So this is how we're winning, right? You need to consider several things in order to win here, because a win is not guaranteed off of fees alone. You can totally have more impermanent loss than you have fees generating in a loss for you. You're looking for volume. One of my favorite phrases is volume is king. Volume is those amount of swaps coming through a pool at any given time. More volume means more fee generation. If there's no volume, you are not generating any fee. Liquidity, TVL, if you enter a pool that has no TVL in it, then you're not going to get as many swaps, because Jupiter is going to not only find the best price for the swapper, but it also has to find the liquidity available for it. So you may be in a pool that has the very best price, but if you don't have enough in there in the active bin, then you're not going to get the swap. Volatility can also help you earn more fees, and it's off of those dynamic fees. The higher the dynamic fee, the more you're earning per swap on there. So that is the very basic thing. You need to earn enough fees to overcome those impermanent losses. That's one way that you win. The next is a positive divergent loss, and this is the hope and prayer of every LPer out there when they're, especially when they're doing memes or project tokens where maybe they don't want to hold the other token. And it's simply just whenever the token pumps up above their entry point, bringing you into a profit. So like, for example, this token here, Soul Prophecy, it was all prophecy at one point and it pumped all the way up, so that is all now converted into Soul. This is a win no matter which way you look at it. You've also earned some fees along the way, but this is what we like to call a positive divergent loss, and it's a win. Okay. Now, here's an important distinction that I would like for you guys to all understand. We talk about pools and we talk about positions. We're going to show you this stuff. A pool is 2 tokens at a specific bin, step, and base fee. It contains all the liquidity from everybody that's deposited into that. Pools cannot be destroyed or closed once they're created. They exist on the blockchain forever, no matter what. Even if they have no liquidity in them, they exist forever. Your position in the DLMM is your liquidity only that you have deposited into the pool. It only exists whenever you deposit, and it can be destroyed when you withdraw. You can have as many positions in a specific pool that you'd like. All you want, you can create multiple. All right, so important distinction there. All right, now it's time for the DLMM tour. Take a pause and see how we go through here. Fun question here. How can we check the volume going through a particular Meteora pool? And that is basically you check the chart, and we're going to demonstrate that. I'll show you a little bit here in a bit, and we're going to go into much greater detail tomorrow on exactly how to do that. So let me jump back over to my demo. Okay, so here we are at the DLMM pool page. Let me just zoom in for you guys here. So like the DAM, you can search for a token name by the contract address or just a given name. Like you can type gas and there you go. But you can see that there's other tokens with these different names. So you want to be sure you have the correct contract address when you're doing this. It's always best to search by that. There are filters that you can go through here. You can say only show me things that are verified by Jupiter, and various other safety things. You can filter by all of this here. I'm not going to go into all the details, but you can even filter by specific launch pads if you'd like. We can sort by the TVL or the 24-hour volume. You can actually change this here. Maybe you only want to see 30-minute volume or 2-hour volume. You can change by that. Same with fee over TVL. Now this is simply a calculation of the TVL and volume. This percentage is based off of that. This number, however, can get skewed whenever there are by deposits and withdrawals into a pool. So let's say you're in a pool that has $10,000 of liquidity in it. Let's say a whale comes in and deposits $100,000 worth of liquidity into that pool. It's going to cause this number to go way down because the amount of fees generated hasn't changed, but the TVL has changed. Okay, it's simple math. The opposite can happen is, say a pool has $100,000 worth of TVL in it, and people extract 90,000. That'll cause that number to go way up, and like this one, it may look way more attractive than it actually is. Here's an example of this one here, this 20 bin step 1% base fee. It's got 0 TVL, but in the last 24 hours, there was some people have withdrawn it, and so it looks like it's got over 999% fee over TVL. That looks great, right? Well, it's not. Just because people have withdrawn enough, and it's caused that number to shoot way up. Okay? All right. So anyway, we're going to sort here. We'll look down at all of these pools, and we can see the bin step and the base fee. Meteora is going to sort what it believes to be the best choice on the top, but you may want to choose something else. That's why it's all here. One of the things that I like to look for is what's got the most volume versus TVL. This particular one, like there's $508,000 of TVL in there, but over $22 million of volume that have come through here. So that's a lot of volume hitting that TVL in the last 24 hours. So that's awesome. You may see different things that will be more attractive to you. You will see a lot of pools because, again, anybody can create a pool. It doesn't mean that it's a good one. For example, this 100 bin step 0.01 base fee, that's not a good choice. No one is putting their liquidity in there. That is a bad pool to choose. This one here, the 20.2 is for this particular token is probably the right choice. So in here, we'll see again the TVL, how much of these two tokens are in there. We'll see what the liquidity distribution is, and you can zoom in and out on that. It's listing our bin step, which they've put in handy tooltips to help you understand what all of these things are. The base fee, the dynamic fee. So we've got a little bit of volatility on this particular token pair, and they've added it all up for you for the current total trading fee, which is actually not too bad for a 0.2% base fee pool to have this much dynamic fee. That's not bad. You'll see something listed as max fee. It's 10%. That's true on everything. 10% is the maximum possible. We have our protocol fee on the DLMM. It's 5% of the dynamic fee. And there's always a dynamic fee with every DLMM pool. Even if the dynamic fee is 0, this is what it's based off of. So the total trading fee, actually 5%. We'll see how many fees have been generated by this pool in the last 24 hours. Charting tools, links to community tools. We'll see a nice little representation here of volume. It can do up to a week, I believe, but it's just telling you, so we can see on January 15th, it had this much volume, and then today, this much volume. So the trend was down on that. Okay, your liquidity, total liquidity, all that. Let's make a deposit, okay? I'm going to expand the chart here. Take a quick look at this. This thing looks like it's actually rugging. So that's fun. So I'm going to put in just a very tiny bit for demonstration purposes. And I'm going to actually start out one-sided here. In order to do a one-sided deposit, you need to uncheck the autofill button. And I'm just going to put in 0.1 because I don't want to put a whole lot of money on this rug. So scrolling down, we're not putting any of the other token in there. We'll select our strategy. Do I want a spot? Do I want a curve? Do I want a bid ask? Let's just go with a pure spot for now. We scroll down, we can see what that looks like. We can move this slider back and forth to change the price range or how many bins that I'd like. You can come in here and type the actual price that you want to set it to. What most people use is the actual percentage. So for here, for the minimum price, it's at 12%. Let's say that I want to go down 30%. So I'll just come in here and I would change this number to 30. And you click and you'll see that it automatically adjusted the number of bins required to cover that price range. The default is 6970 bins. You can't change this number manually. Whenever you change these things, it will calculate the correct number of bins for you. You can also change the max price. Let's say that I want to go up 10%. So I change that there. Now there's no liquidity being deposited here because I'm doing a one-sided deposit. But let's go ahead and see here. The next part is cost details. Sol needed to create this position and how much of that is refundable when you close that. Let's click on this and we can see a greater breakdown. The deal mem does not use LP tokens or NFTs. It's putting it on the blockchain itself. That's rent on the Solana blockchain. It's not money that Meteora keeps. When you close your position, you reclaim that rent. So we can see here it's got, because it's more than 69 or 70 bins, you have the position extension rent. That's why this number is higher than this number here. Let's see if we can force this into another situation where it's, oh, that's too many bins. The max number of bins for any one given position is 1,400. But I want to click on this. I did that so I can demo this. If you are depositing liquidity into a price range where no liquidity has ever been deposited before, the bins have to be created on the Solana blockchain. That is non-refundable rent because bins can't be destroyed once they're created. That has a cost of 0.07 SOL per bin array. That's not per bin, but bin array. It's usually 2 when you're doing that. So please pay attention when you are making a deposit. Are you having to create bin arrays? Because you will not get that money back if you do. Now, when you create a bin array, it can be used by anybody. You don't own it. It's available to everybody out there. All right. So I'm going to change this back to a more reasonable number. And we will now add liquidity. And I approve it in my wallet. Now, if you guys ever see in your wallet, I see this, I use Solflare a lot. You may see something like simulation failed or what have you. That's okay. Just continue. It should go through. It will tell you if it failed, but we can see here it completed. I now have a position. We can see how much money is in there, what it's doing when it's moving. We can already see that it's moved down some, and I'm generating some fees here. We have our balances and our unclaimed swap fees. It's a very small number because I only put in $1.47, but that is how that looks. You can see how much of my SOL has been converted into this other token right here. Okay. So going back here, we can see our total liquidity amount value. If you click on that, it will change it to SOL instead of USD. That change, of course, affects this as well. It's just a visual thing that you can change to see what that looks like. Okay. All right. Now you can, if you wanted to add a second position, you totally could. We're going to buy a tiny bit of this token for demonstration purposes only. 0.01. I'll do the swap. Okay, so now I have some of this token. I'm going to do autofill. And I'm going to hit the max because I want to deposit all of this token in there. And we can see that it put in a balance of this token and SOL right here. You can, of course, change this to look however you want, but you'll notice the amount of SOL required changed when I did that. I go the other way, it brought it down. All right. So you can do that. You can always hit this reset price, which will bring it back to the center. So yeah, you can change all of these things here. Let's say I want to do 12% and 12%. Why not? So there's that. I'll do a pure spot in this particular situation. I'll hit add liquidity. And when you notice that the price is moving before I've even deposited here, there is a thing called liquidity slippage. Okay. And that's just simply the price moving to help overcome that, because you can get a failure to deposit if the price moves from where you initially tried to deposit. You can click this button here to change the liquidity slippage. So how much you're willing to accept and it still land the transaction. You can choose one of the presets, or you can define it however you want. This is how much you're willing to accept. There's also the swap slippage here. This only impacts the built-in swap to the pool, which we don't recommend. The Jupiter swap function is not impacted by that. I don't think. So anyway, we see we have two positions. How much is in there over time? It will generate this 24-hour fee over TVL. That's how much you're actually earning. At the top, you'll see the information for the entire pool. But again, keep in mind that this number can be skewed by large deposits and withdrawals. Okay, so this question, I like this question because this doesn't happen very often, but I've seen it. So what's happening here is whenever you are depositing into the deal minimum, it's wrapping your SOL. Okay, so it's wrapping it up into so that it works on the deal minimum. It starts to get really technical. Whenever you're withdrawing, if there's any part of that withdrawal transaction, and there's many things happening there, it's claiming any unclaimed fees, it's withdrawing all of the tokens and closing the position, reclaiming the rent. There's a lot of steps all within there. And the more bins that you have, the more that are actually involved in that transaction. A failure can happen for many reasons, and it could be from a large price swing during the transaction. A lot of things can happen. If there's a failure there with extracting that SOL, it will remain wrapped. And it's not a big deal. You come back to the pool and there will be a button that says you have this much in wrapped SOL. Click here to unwrap it. You just click that button and it will unwrap the SOL, put it right back into your wallet like it should be. So that's what's expected. Now, there's a fun little banner here at the top, and it just went away, but it was saying that the pool price differed from the Jupiter price or the market price. Okay. That happens because out there on the market, there it is again. There's a lot of different pools out there, and every pool might have a slightly different price. And that's because the price of a pool is directly impacted by trades that hit that liquidity. Okay. The pool price can't move unless there's liquidity there for it to move to. All right. So that's just saying that the market price is 5% or more greater, less or greater than the current pool price. Okay. And it's just kind of giving you a warning. Where you really need to pay attention to that warning is on a pool that doesn't have any liquidity in it or an extremely low amount of liquidity to it. Because that price can be so different. If you deposit in there, you can suffer from something called arbitration. And I go into arbitration in greater detail in the LP Basics course, but it's just basically maybe you've deposited a token at a much higher price than what the current price is. A bot or somebody will very quickly get that, nuke your liquidity. You'll lose all kinds of money in that situation. In this particular case, there's a ton of liquidity here, and we will see that it's just not caught up. It will. You will see this really, the higher the fee is, the more you'll see it, because it takes that much in price change for a swap to hit that pool. Okay. So anyway, we're going to move on to a different, or I'm going to add something to this here. You can see this one already dropped way down, so that's fun. We'll add another position for demo. 0.01, one-sided spot. I'm going to go 40%. One of the things is moving too. There's some volatility going on, guys. Okay, that didn't. The more volatile it is, the trickier changing that can be. All right, got it. Okay. 276 spins. We'll add liquidity. All right, so now we have deposit, and I'm going to show you guys a mixed strategy now. Let's say that I wanted to do 50% spot and 50% bid ask. So I just go to add more liquidity to that, change it to bid ask on the strategy, hit add liquidity. And there we go. We have a mixed strategy, a layer of spot, and a layer of bid ask right there. Very simple, easy to do. You can make all kinds of fun shapes and art with this. I actually did an art class once. So anyway, we can see that we're earning fees. You can claim these fees on the individual positions themselves by sitting there and going and clicking claim fees. Or if you have multiple positions, you can click the claim all fees, and it's going to collect all of these at the same time from all the positions. And there we go. So we see now that it's updated to how much in fees that I've earned. This number will not change even if the price of those tokens change. It's telling you how much it was worth at the time you claimed it. So even if the price changes, that'll stay. If you hover here, you'll see it'll show you how much in the 2 tokens that you've received, like this much of the gas and this much of the SOL. Okay, now let's say I wanted to compound this back into the position. I totally can. Let's use a bid ask for giggles, or actually a curve just for fun. It's not how I would normally do it. I would normally use spot or bid ask. But we're going to do some demo here and hit add liquidity. And we can see here now we're making fun shapes. I've just compounded just those fees back into my position. We will see here, this is a new feature, the profit and loss. It's a live real-time P&L. Hovering over it, it will tell you current balance, unclaimed fees, how much you've deposited, all these things. So it's giving you a quick visual representation of that. It's not always perfect. Sometimes you need to double check just to be sure, but that is the idea behind that there. So I can see that I've lost money in this one so far, but hopefully I earned enough fees to overcome that. Okay, now we see here this little warning symbol just showed up. What that means is that now my position is out of range. Active bin outside of price range. It's moving in and out here. But again, as we talked about very early, when the price moves outside of your liquidity, you stop earning fees. All of the tokens will have been swapped into the other, like that, for example. We could see I have no SOL left in this position. It's all the other token. Okay. So that's how that looks. And what I want to do now is show you a brand new feature, and I'll have to create a new position to do it. 0.01. I'll just use a pure spot. I'm not going to change the number of bins beyond 70. I'm going to keep it at that. And hit approve. Okay. We can already see that it's out of range. All right. Well, let's say that I want to move back into range here. I'm going to click this new feature called rebalance. And what this does is it will swap tokens for the other, bringing the price back to the center. And you can choose, let's change it to curve, or let's change it to bid ask. You can change it to whatever you want. You cannot change the number of bins for that, but this is what it does. It will claim any fees, and it will do a swap. Now, this is important. You see here, rebalancing may cause impermanent loss to be realized. That's something else that's very important that I didn't mention before on impermanent loss. When you're in a state of impermanent loss, when you withdraw, you make that impermanent loss permanent. So that's what you need to understand, is what they're saying is impermanent loss is realized. That means you just made it permanent. Now, hopefully you're doing this because you believe that you can earn more fees to offset those losses, and that's great. If you find rebalancing to be the thing that you want to do, then good. It's not always the right thing to do. Sometimes you just need to wait. We'll talk more about that later in the course. But if you would like to rebalance, you can do this here. And we will click rebalance just so that we can see what it looks like. And there we go. Boom. It's moved it. It swapped some of the tokens for the other. And here we are with our brand new position set up. We rebalanced all in one. Very easy. Okay. And of course you can add to this position if you'd like. But you don't have to. All right, now, so let's go through our options for withdrawing. The simplest thing that you can do is click withdraw and close position. That is going to claim any unclaimed fees, withdraw all of the tokens, close the position, and reclaim your RET 100%. Okay. You have other options. You can withdraw just a percentage. They've got buttons for you to change the amount, or you can put in a manual whole number amount to withdraw. If you click this, you can actually come here and define how much of this you want to withdraw. So you can do one-sided withdrawals, or you can just say, give me just this liquidity. And you can even define the percentage on this. Let's say you wanted to withdraw all of that for whatever reason. You click withdraw liquidity, and it's going to pull it out. And there we go. We can now see that it's cut that out right there. So yeah, next option here is to do the zap out. Now, zap out is limited to 250 bins. Let's go here to this one to withdraw, so I can demonstrate the zap out function. Zap out to 1 token. So what we're talking about here is I want to withdraw and close my position completely. I'm not interested in holding any of this other token. I want it all converted into SOL. That's going to be the default option. It's always going to default to the quote, or the this token here, right? It's always going to default to that. You can change it if you want. If you've got some reason that you want that token, neat. But it's going to default to this one. All right. Now, it's going to either swap with the pool or swap with Jupiter, whatever's the best price for you. You can define one or the other if that's something you want to do, but I leave it on auto. Okay. We can see how much it's going to do. I'm going to hit withdraw and close position. And hopefully, because this thing is so volatile, it doesn't fail on me. But this is an important thing that I would like for you all to remember when you are doing a zap out. When you are, double check your wallet. I can see that 5 cents did not get swapped. Sometimes the zap out does not swap the tokens. Always check your wallet when you're done. If you don't, and you leave that in there and the price dumps, well, that's too bad. So always check. That is the zap out. Okay. We do have our things there that we can do. And let's just say that you are done with everything. You wanted to withdraw and close all. This is also an option that you can do that. Hello. Okay, no questions. Of course, we have our fun little chart. The thing is quite volatile today. It looks like it's really swinging. We'll get more into price charting tomorrow. Next feature that we can see here is something called close positions. This is a great thing that Meteora has added here, so you can see the history of your positions. Were you in profit? Were you in loss? If you click on it, you will see like how much you deposited, how much you withdrew, how much fees you earned, whether or not you won or lost on these things. That's a super cool thing that I really like that they've added. Other things that you need to see here, at the very top, we have a gear that you can change the RPC. This is kind of technical to explain, but this is what's communicating through the network. If you're having trouble landing transactions or page loading or anything, you can try changing your RPC to a different one and see if that helps. Up here, we also have our transaction fee settings. With the DLMM, it's always going to be JITO, and that's what it's doing is it's using something called JITO bundles. It's grouping all these transactions together because depositing into the DLMM, it can require multiple deposits or multiple transactions. So it's going to bundle all that together so everything lands together. So JITO only is your only option there. You can change, however, the priority level. The higher the priority level, the more you're going to be charged for the transaction itself. Use the lowest priority level that you can get away with. So start with fast. If you're having trouble landing transactions, then you can increase this. Next is the fee mode, the max cap, how much you're willing to spend per transaction for this to land. Go with the lowest number that you can get away with. I like 0.002, 001. If I'm having trouble, if it's failing a lot, then you can increase it. There is the exact fee, which is not too many times you'd actually want to do this. If you choose exact fee, it will spend however much you specify in here every single time, no matter how busy the network is. So I leave it on max cap, fast. I just bring this down to the lowest number that I can possibly get away with. And so you can set that there for you. Here at the very top, there's a little notification bell. This is for notifications. What this will do, it's very basic, but what it will do is tell you whether or not a DLMM position is out of range. You can use Telegram to get those notifications. You can use email to get those. It will also do a general broadcast. Sometimes Jupiter or others are giving out some important information. When Meteora was doing its TGE, there'd be general broadcast information that came to you through this. It won't tell you whether you're on the upside or the downside when you're out of range. All it will do is just say you're out of range. So you can do that if that's something that you'd like. Okay. Let's see. Photon, help me out. Gosh, did I miss anything here on the UI tour? I think I got it.
Yeah, you got it. My favorite is the PNL.
Yeah, that is cool. That is a new fun.
The graph and the PNL are awesome.
Yeah, the chart. Okay. Oh, we're running out of time. So let's get through the rest of this. Okay. So the next cool thing, and this is so cool, this is made by one of the LP Army leads, Alex, the DLMM Playground. It is a true DLMM simulator. It's risk-free. You are not connecting your wallet. You're not using any real money. It's using real live DLMM pool information. You can learn how to LP in a completely safe environment, test different pools and strategies. You access that at any time on lparmy.com/playground. I will give you guys a quick demo of that because it is so cool and it's constantly being improved upon. Let's see, it's not this one, it's not that one. Actually, I'm going to go to the LP Army Hub. Here we go. We've got one that's already going. But let's go up here. It's going to give you Sol USDC a couple choices, but you can do anything that you'd like. You can search by a token address. Hit enter, and it will show you all the matching pools for that contract address. If you find one that you like, you can just hit add. That'll bring it to here. You click on it, Let's add a position, and he sets you up with 100 soul to play with. Let's create a position. Let's do a one-sided position of 50 soul, because that sounds like fun. Let's do just a spot. Now you can't stack strategies in the playground. Hopefully one day Alex adds that. You can only pick one strategy at a time. You can set a custom price range in here if you'd like. You can go by percentage. Let's see, 70%. Let's say we want to do 0 there. And then hit add liquidity. And there we go. We've got a position set. And what it's actually going to do is move with the real market, okay, and give you an estimated P&L. We can see what it looks like. And as fees are generated, it will show up in here. You can create a whole bunch of them if you'd like to do testing. Here's one that I created earlier before Bootcamp started. We can see here, I made a massive position, but we can see that it's earned this much in fees. This is where the current price action, market profit, and permanent loss. I'm going to claim fees. You know, you can't compound those fees, but at least not yet. But you can see what that looks like before you do anything. And here's the other super cool thing is if you go and close that position, it will generate a P&L card. And this looks like it was this much in profit. So you can actually share that and show people like, hey, I'm winning in the test playground. So this is a really cool tool. There is a great feedback form here where, you know, if you encounter a bug, if you have feedback or suggestions for improvements, lay that in there. Alex will read it, and he does his best to make these things better. So please use it, give your feedback, try the playground. I strongly recommend that you, when you are learning how to deal in them, that you use this playground so that you can totally understand the concepts before you risk real money in this thing. So do that at any time you'd like. It's always available. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. And here we are. Nearing the end, guys. We're almost there. This is the QR code for the Bootcamp training role. This is the test. Scan this now. We do not share this outside of this course. We'll not post the link anywhere because we want you to watch the video. But you scan this, fill this in, take the test. There's 5 questions. You need to answer at least 4 of these questions correctly. The forms will close on January 25th at 6 p.m. UTC. I will not be grading any of those until after the forms close. So be patient. And again, you must pass this test in order for us to even grade your graduation task, which we will share with you guys tomorrow and explain. Really quick, a couple roles within the Meteora and LP Army Discords is LP Army Private, and that is a role that you get for graduating boot camp. It doesn't grant you any airdrop or anything like that. There is a role called LP Army. This is for people who make significant contributions to our community. It's a massive honor selected by the mods. Context here, we have probably about 16,000 or so LP Army privates out there, and there are less than 250 people with the honor of LP Army. both Hashirama and Photon Magic have received that honor. So if you see somebody with that role, they are significant contributors to all of that. I don't see any other questions. We're ticking out of time here. Give you guys just a couple more seconds. So we're just about to wrap up. Okay. All right. So a couple of differences. Again, there are 2 Discords out there, and this is important. We have the Meteora Discord. This is the official team Meteora product Discord. You can get answers about the product itself. If you're having an issue with the product, this is the place that you want to be. Something's not working, come here and talk about it. If you want to discuss the price of Met or have a debate, something, do it there. You can also give feedback on the different products like the DLMM, the DAM V1, the DAM V2. You can give feedback there within that server. The LP Army Discord is the official community Discord, and this is where you will find more information about actual discussing specific tokens, what's hot, what's not. There's a lot of great things. That's where the Bootcamp chat is. A lot of great stuff. We will talk more about using this Discord tomorrow. But this is a great one to join. You definitely want to be in both, especially if you'd like to receive roles. And then here we are at the end. Questions. So feel free to ask. We will go into the LP Army Discord. After this ends, we'll start up the Bootcamp stage to answer any questions. If you didn't want to ask it here, you want to ask there, you want to speak, whatever, we're happy to answer your questions. It's a little bit great environment for that. And that's it for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We have a song. I hope you guys enjoyed the Bootcamp March to begin with. The ending song is a song that I had actually written for Met Dabi, the album that I wrote for Met Dabi. This is the title track, an animated video of it that didn't get to show, so I'm going to show it to you guys here at the end. And that's it. I want to say thank you again to Photon Magic and Hashirama for joining me today and helping out with the chat and everything. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So time's up. We'll see you guys over in the Discord chat if you'd like to join us. And y'all have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care. See you in the chat, guys.
Yep. See you.